All right, good morning. Welcome everybody to Roll and Release. I have out today my foam roller. I also have my balls. We might use balls as well, but we're going to start with some foam roller to roll and release a little bit and go from there. All right, and just a reminder as we do things, like you can always improvise. If you don't have the roller, you could substitute out the balls. You can do this first stuff that we're going to do without a roller. Do what works for you. All right, if you have your roller though, we are going to lay the long way on it. So get it out, get it all situated, and then you're going to sit on the very end of it. So you'll probably want to take your feet nice and wide and make sure you scoot way forward on it. Don't be in the middle, come way down to the end of your roller first, and then carefully roll back and land your head completely on your roller and make sure your butt or your hips are completely on your roller. All right, the wider your feet are as we're laying here, the more stable you're going to feel, the less wobbly. The closer you bring them in toward each other, you're going to feel a little more wiggly wobbly and you'll have to work on your balance more. So you decide where you want to start. Let us just be here. Let's just take some nice big breath, just draping over this roller. Notice your shoulders. I catch myself kind of holding mine up. Can you just like let them go a little bit? Let those shoulders just drape down. Start taking that big on purpose breath. Breathe in through your nose and feel your whole rib cage expand. Kind of that puff up your chest breath. And then as you exhale, just force out all of that breath. And as you're taking that breath, just kind of that appreciating and noticing how your body feels on that roller. Notice your head just sinking back into the roller so your neck has some ease. Notice your hips just gently pressing in, not working to be there. We don't want to tuck or overly arch. We're just kind of in our middle zone. We're going to add some arm movement on here. Remember, the wider your legs are, the more stable you're going to be, the closer in, the more wobbly. You can always decide not a right or wrong. Let's energize through our arms and start with just some arm circles. As you inhale, you're going to lift up, and I want us just to pay attention to how our shoulder blades are kind of wrapping around the roller. And then as you exhale, you're going to open the arms and circle all the way around. There is not a right or wrong. How big you go on these, it's up to you. Go with what feels good. Explore a little bit. We want to really get the massagey effect, right? We want to feel our muscles and tissues in between those shoulder blades kind of pressing into the roller. Open and circle. Let's do one more. Notice your breath. Can you take a little bit bigger breath as you lift the arms up? And then exhale, circle, and come back around. Let's go the other way. Let's rotate the palms up to the sky, circle the arms out around overhead, and then press those arms along beside you. Inhaling as you're reaching through those fingertips, and then exhale as you press those arms back down. Every breath maybe just gets a little bigger. And we're just appreciating kind of that ease in your shoulders, right? And maybe when you started, our shoulders are feeling a little stiff, but the more you move, the more you kind of loosen up. Let's stop this time above our shoulders with our arms. So my arms are straight up to the ceiling, and I'm going to do what I call a puppet arm action. I'm going to lift my shoulder blades up and reach up for the ceiling, like there was something up there I wanted to grab. And then I'm going to take my shoulder blades and kind of squeeze them gently around that roller. Inhale, we're going to reach and lift up. And then exhale, we're going to squeeze around. Like just explore that a little. One more. And then a little squeeze around. And then I want us to play with, and you could do this with straight arms, or sometimes it's easier with bent arms, but think of those shoulder blades just like circling, right? Like, so if we were sitting up, it'd be like a shoulder roll. Like, can we, and play with this a little, like try them both at the same time, and then maybe try one and then the other. Just notice what you feel, and then maybe go the other way. We're just circling them around. Maybe you want to shimmy or shift a little bit in your body as you're doing these. Remember, there is not a right or wrong on this. I want you to play and kind of do what feels good in your body. Oh, as we're there, good. All right, let's kind of come back to shoulder blades anchored, arms right above our shoulders, and let's do some chest flies where you just get to open your arms as wide as you can go. I really love to take mine down to the mat and just hold there for a moment and then come back up. But you do your range. Nice big inhale. And exhale. Hold that as long as you want. In fact, let's do one, if you're holding with me, where we're just hanging out there. You're just holding. You're letting gravity pull a little. Maybe at the same time you kind of reach out through your fingertips and just notice what stretches. Notice if it's different side to side. Maybe you want to even wiggle your shoulder blades around, do some of those circle things while we're there, just to get a little feel there. Good. Okay, let's bring those hands back to the mat beside us. Now we're going to give our sacrum a little massage. We're going to start doing some movements with our hips. We're going to do our pelvic tilt or tuck, and then we're going to tip away. And I want you to feel that your backside is moving in and out or through the roller, however you want to think about it. It's rocking back and forth. And how much movement you do is really up to you. Maybe see if like each one you can get a little more movement front to back. Time your breath with it. Do an inhale one way and then exhale the other way. Remember, anytime we're doing this massagey stuff, we kind of want to do it nice and slow and really get that pressure in. Let's experiment today a little bit. Let's see if we can. So I want you to keep your arms down on the mat. Kind of shift your hips to the right. So I feel like the roller just shifted over to the right on my sacrum. It's a little on my sacrum. It's a little on my glute. And now, so I have a different pressure point. And now I'm going to do a little tuck and arch there. And just see what that feels like. I can tell you from my body, it feels like different work. Okay, different muscles are working in a little different way. Feels like the one side is kind of hanging off my roller as I do that. So it gets a little more stretch. And then this side's getting a little massage. Remember, not a right or wrong. We're just exploring a little bit. And of course, we'll want to do that on both sides. So I'm going to come back to center and then I'm going to kind of navigate, shifting my hips over. So the roller now feels like it's on my left butt and kind of on the side of my sacrum, that bony surface. And then I'm going to do that tuck and arch there and explore that. Abs pulling in. I'm also getting some nice, like, stretch my quads a little bit on there. Everybody's going to be different. There is not a right or wrong on this. It's just your time to get some of that movement and massage time in. Just see what it feels like. All right, let's come back to center. I'm gonna give my hips just a side to side wiggle, kind of like our sacrum scrub when we do that with our alpha ball. This is just a little side to side, no right or wrong. You're just kind of wiggling back and forth. And then I'm gonna come center and let's add a side bend in. Let's take the right arm up overhead and the left hand stays on the mat, but it slides down towards your foot as you go into a little side bend. And then you'll come back center. Just take a big breath. All right, one arm overhead, one arm kind of slides down, and my head is still supported. You don't want to fall off your roller. And then come back. Big breath. And back center. Inhale, we'll reach. And then exhale back. Let's do one more in each. And then back to that center. All right, let's come up to the side of our roller. Let's use it some other ways. Let's put it behind our upper back. We're going to put it underneath. I have mine kind of underneath tips of shoulder blades, but really you could put it a little like higher, lower. We have lots of surface area, so explore back there in the back. Let's start with just arch and curl. Like, let's just try that. Support our head. Let our body drape back over. Maybe you want to hold that a little. And then curl chin toward chest and just round your back to come forward. And remember, like, try it in different spots. Depending on where the roller's at, it's going to press into different tissues and get a little movement in different places. So it's all good. All right, remember, only rule is if something doesn't feel good, get in pain, don't do it. All right, maybe you want to lean over to one side a little bit and do this. Now, I probably don't have to tell you, this is some sneaky core work too. It's always like feel good core work to me though. Everything feels good to move like this, so I forget that we are working those core muscles. All right, any place you want in there. When you've had enough of some arch and curl, go ahead and just lift your hips up and let's roll out our upper back. Right, which is always the place where you see if your shirt's gonna get tucked up underneath, under the roller. Just explore, right? We're using that roller to give ourselves a little massage. So you can roll kind of around your shoulder blades. You can get way up. What to me feels like I'm almost to my neck, like top of these upper traps, tops of my shoulders. Lean and wiggle there. Right? Not a right or wrong other than you just finding some things that kind of feel good in your body. Maybe play with some rolls side to side. Any of that kind of stuff that feels good for you. And then I do want us to do some specific roll out our neck with our roller too. So as you're ready, just set that roller underneath your head and neck and just push, almost like someone was pushing your chin, pushing your head back into the roller. Let's do a little turn side to side, maybe to start with, some little nods. You're really in control of that pressure. So the more you push back, the more pressure you'll get. You can just explore. Usually it's not hard to find a spot or two that just feels really good to press into on this one. And if you find kind of those places, stay on them for a little bit. Nod, wiggle around. And breathe. All of the things. I just want to get that release in our neck. Give ourselves a little roll. Around. Let's do just a few more spots, or maybe you're just holding still, just be there, whatever feels good for your body. And then, all right, I'm gonna have us come up to seated. Let's roll out our calves today with our rollers. Let's take them underneath. Let's take that roller and I like to start like, I don't know, mid-calf, midway between your ankle and your knee, and just set your calves on there and do a little, come like little windshield wipers, internal, external rotation, or you can go out and in this way. Just kind of shift your calves side to side on that roller. Okay, and then do some big circles with your feet and your toes opening up. If you're like me and you have socks on, try to stretch your socks with your toes by opening them up. Go both directions. Let the calves kind of wiggle and wobble on there. And then let's go ahead, let's start down by those Achilles now that we did that a little bit. And we're gonna do little mini rolls. We're gonna roll out little sections. So I'm just rocking the roller back and forth. I'm externally rotating, internally rotating. If you love a little more pressure, just stack your legs. Use your top leg to push in more. If you like that a little bit, oh yeah, I can get that today. Depends on your roller too. I have my softer roller, so a firmer roller, you might not need to push as much. And then just inch up. We're going to our next section up. Just go a little higher. Explore there. Remember, not a right or wrong. Just giving those calves a little roll. Okay. If you like the one leg, do the one leg. Okay. And notice I'm not lifting my butt at all. If you want to lift your butt up, roll back and forth, that kind of thing, you can. But for today, I'm going to keep my butt down and just explore what we can do using our other leg for pressure, kind of working our way in little sections. I kind of like doing it in little sections. I feel like I spend a little more time on each spot that way, kind of work my way up my calves. Get some spots that I didn't even know that I needed to roll out. Wiggles, yeah. Okay, good. Oh, that felt good. Let's do a little, since we have our rollers today, I want us to get our psoas lengthener in. So that's what I like to call it. We're gonna lay on our back with our legs bent, and I want you to lift those hips up and just bring that roller underneath your hips for a moment. And we're gonna start with just being here. So just see how this feels. I like to feel like I'm getting a little traction, right? And everybody's different. You can have the roller a little higher, a little lower, but mine's kind of right on, I don't know, it feels like it's on the top of my glutes a little bit, my hip bones, and I'm kind of trying to just let go. So I can already feel a little stretch in my hip. While we're here, wow, if it just feels good to hang out here, you get to hang out. If you want to play with some movement, rock side to side. I'm keeping my feet down, but I'm kind of pushing with one leg, getting a little twist in my back. And then I'm leaning into the roller. So the roller is going across, pressing into my glute muscles. And you may want to, like I just scooted mine down a little. I want to just explore a few spots. Right, lean. And if you find a place, always, stay there. Not a right or wrong. Maybe you want to pick one leg up, shimmy around. See how that feels. Sometimes if I find a spot, I feel like I want to rock back and forth through it. Anything that kind of feels good for your body. This is great for those glute muscles and is going to give us some mobility and movement in our back. All right, coming back, we're going to just kind of set ourselves up with our feet and knees, maybe about hip width apart. Here's our psoas lengthener. It's one of my favorites. We're going to take the right leg and you're going to bend it to tabletop. And wherever you can straighten your leg, just straighten your leg out, flex your foot, spread your toes apart a little, stretch your socks out, and then slowly lower. Now, as you lower, I do want you to go as slow as you can. I want you to notice, like, are your stomach muscles pulling in? So your back feels like it's holding still, and then lowering kind of slow as you can, especially when you get to the bottom few inches. That's the good part where you're really going to feel some stretch and lengthen going on. When you get to the bottom, maybe anchor your heel and just slide it out away a little bit. And then drag the leg back in, bend it in, kick it up, and we're going to do it again. 4 is my magic number on here. I don't know why, but I feel like 4 is a nice number of these to do. So we're going to do 4. We're going to slowly lower. Abs are pulling in. You're reaching, right? I know I'm going probably pretty slow. So if you're like, "Ooh, I've already done 2 to her 1 or whatever," that's fine. Do a few extras. Totally fine. I will say the magic of this exercise happens when we slowly come down. And we have 2 more. As we're lowering the leg, our quads and our psoas muscle are engaged, right? They're kind of what hold our leg up in space. And as you lower, those muscles have to lengthen. They have to stretch out, but they're still working. So it gives kind of this dynamic stretch is how I like to think of it as you're coming down. Reach, 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 reach. And then bend the leg in. Let's do 1 more. I think that's our 4. Flex the foot and just make your way down. Take as much breath as you want because we're going so slow. I will also say that because we're going so slow, it feels like work, right? You're going to feel that top of the thigh working. You want to feel those abs working. You might feel like you're getting tired. It's hard to go slow. That's okay. You're just going as slow as you can. This is our last one. So I want us to hang out at the bottom a little and just explore. And just be here. Maybe you want to rock a little. Maybe I'll try to slide the heel away a little more. Do some little wiggles. Not a right or wrong on that. Just some lengthen, release time. Maybe just ragdoll your leg. Shake it around. And then go ahead and come back in, give those hips a little wiggle. We're gonna do that all on the other side. So I'm going to my left, whatever side you did, just switch, flex the foot at the top, and then that slow lower. Slow, 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 slow. Make yourself go as slow as you can. Abs pulling in. Maybe as you're lowering, you notice, can you tip your head back and give your neck some extra length? And maybe notice how that whole side of your body just feels like it's trying to stretch a little longer as you slowly come down. And then you can drag the leg in, kick the leg up to the ceiling, flex the foot. We'll do it again. Reach through that heel. We got our head tip back. We got our abs pulling in. We're reaching that heel away from us so much that you feel like this space in between like your bottom rib and the top of your hip kind of stretches out as you're coming down. Reaching, reaching, reaching. And then back. We're gonna do our 2 more. We'll get our 4 and bend in, reach the leg to straight, flex the foot, and then just that slow lower as we come down. Abs pulling in, that leg lengthening, reaching. Just that breath. Reach, 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 reach. Remember, super slow in those last few inches. All right, we got 1 more. And drag it in, reach the leg to straight, flex that foot, and then that slow lower. Lower, lower, lower as you're coming down. Just that awareness of that long neck. Maybe see if you could flex your foot a little more, spread your toes a little more. We're just going to get those last few inches in. And remember, on your very last one, hang out at the bottom a little and let yourself explore. Just be. Notice how just being in that position really just lengthens. Man, I can feel that very like one-sided length. Right through that side. Maybe you want to wiggle. Maybe you want to kind of push with your standing leg to kind of shimmy a little if that feels good to you. Good. And then here's what I want us to do next. We have our rollers. I want us to bend our legs in. I call this my reverse child's pose. I like my legs nice and wide, and I'll just grab the backs of my legs and kind of gently pull in. But you could do it narrower too. Play with it. Try it both ways. And just kind of letting the weight of my arms pull my legs toward me, and then a release as much as I can in my low back, which really means not working so much, right? And of course, if it feels good, like while you're there, you can rock. You've got to be careful of your roller not shimmying out, depending on where you have it. You want to hold legs here. Maybe you want to play with pull them in and away. Just a little explore. You can stay there. You can play. I have my legs together just lightly, at least my feet, lightly knees. I'm going to play with some little, I'm going to call them knee circles. So they're pretty small to start with, but you're going to feel the weight shift in your hips, and then that pressure changes in your roller, and you may want to, wiggle your roller around depending on where you want the pressure. You can, depending on how your glutes are feeling today, you could really lean in one side. Kind of get some circle, sneaky core work again, right? When those legs go away from your center, you want to keep those core muscles pulled in. You could do circles. You could do a little side to side. Notice that we're trying to keep our shoulders anchored so that our back has to twist and move because it likes that. It's good for it. And circle around. And then one last, if you want to hug in at all, just take that stretch. Good. All right. When you're ready to come out of this position, you can just do a little bridge and push your roller up from under you and kind of roll down to the mat. Give yourself a little shimmy side to side there. Let's come up. I want us to do a little, we did that psoas and quad lengthener. I want us to now roll out our quads. So we're going to go face down. We're going to put our thighs on our roller. was thinking we might do balls today, but now that we've been playing in the roller, I'm kind of feeling like we're just gonna do everything in our roller just for fun. We're gonna be on those elbows. So some plank work here. Pull your shoulder blades down, pull those stomach muscles up and in, and then I want us to start playing with just a roll across the tops of our thighs. Back and forth. I kind of always inch up on my mat. By the time I get done with these, I might be off screen on here, like just rounding, pushing through my arms, rounding my low back to pull the roller back and forth toward me. You can stay centered, or you can start to add a little rotation into this. That little rotation, that little twist is going to get that roller to hit those outer thighs and even into those IT bands that we hear so much about, that we notice maybe feeling tight. So rolling, doing a little side to side there. Let's do one more on each. Yeah, good. And then just come off of there and let yourself, you can use your roller for this, just take a little child's pose or a cat or a stretch your back, like anything that feels good to you. Just to give that little stretch. Let's do one more breath on me. And then just coming all the way back up. Let's get a little, let's just do like a little side bending with our roller. Let's sit in a little like a mermaid position with your hand. So we're going to get some good movement and stretch to our side waist, but we'll also kind of roll a little bit through our forearms, kind of sneaky rolling. If you're just going to set like your wrist or your hand on there as you press out, you can push in, get a little massage there, and then stack to come back up and just take a stretch up and over that other way, and then back to center. And you of course can kind of, like you really want to press in, you get a little more, and you can kind of turn your forearm a little bit as you're doing these as well. I was starting with my hand forward, but then I kind of played with like, could I rotate my forearm toward that roller? Has a little different feel to it. And then that stretch up and over. Hold that one for me. Take your hand behind your head and just twist in towards your body. Untwist. And then come back up. And then we'll switch and do the other way. If this leg position like that I was doing there doesn't work, you can just have your legs out in front of you. You could sit up on something. You could put them crisscross applesauce. You decide. All right, let's just play with it on this side. So remember, we're noticing the massagey effect of our forearm on that roller, and maybe just playing with it a little bit through that piece, and then you can go up and over the other way. That part always feels like the biggest stretch to me. We'll get that reach of one arm up overhead. And coming back. Let's do one more. And press out. Remember, palm could be up, palm could be down. Roll to come back up. And take that stretch up and over. Bonus twist on this one. Take your hand behind your head. Rotate in for a little twist. And then untwist. And come back to center. God. And then let's give our shoulders a little roll out, and we are all done already. Thank you guys so much for joining me for a little roll and release with our foam roller today. I hope everybody has an amazing week.